Good morning, everyone. This is Raghu, Assistant Professor of Biotechnology from SRN BGNR Government College, Khammam. So today's topics are glycolysis and Krebs cycle. In the previous class, we have seen the carbohydrate structure and biological importance. Now this glycolysis and Krebs cycle will come under this carbohydrate metabolism. While coming into the definition, conversion of glucose into pyruvic acid or breakdown of 6 carbon containing glucose into 3 carbon containing pyruvic acid molecules is called as glycolysis. So for the oxidation of glucose in vivo and for the process of yielding ATP, this glycolysis will take place. And the site for the process of glycolysis, that means glycolytic pathway, and all the enzymes for this glycolytic pathway are situated in the cytosol. So the site of glycolysis is cytoplasm. So after that, the pyruvate will be entering the mitochondria where it is converted into acetyl-CoA, and the process of Krebs cycle, tricarboxylic acid cycle, will begin in the mitochondrial matrix. So glycolysis will occur in the cytosol and Krebs cycle will occur in the mitochondrial matrix. So that is introduction. So while coming to the glycolytic pathway, so if you see this diagram, you can clearly understand that glycolysis will occur aerobically as well as under anaerobic conditions. So that means glycolysis pathway will take place under aerobic conditions, that is in presence of oxygen, and also in anaerobic conditions, that is in the absence of oxygen. If you see the pathway clearly, glucose is converted into pyruvic acid and ATP is released, and this pyruvic acid now will enter into the mitochondria where the Krebs cycle or tricarboxylic acid cycle will take place, followed by electron transport chain and oxidative phosphorylation will occur in mitochondria. So that is aerobic glycolysis. So the fate of glucose is finally to CO2 plus H2O in the mitochondria. So that is aerobic glycolysis. Whereas in anaerobic conditions, glucose will be converted into pyruvic acid. From pyruvic acid, if it is in yeast or fermentative bacteria, the pyruvic acid will be converted into alcohol, ethyl alcohol. But in mammals, the pyruvic acid will be converted into lactic acid with the help of lactate dehydrogenase. That we will see in the next upcoming slides. So the glucose will be converted either to ethanol or lactic acid under anaerobic conditions. So that is the fate of the glucose under anaerobic conditions. Aerobically, it enters the mitochondria where the electron transport chain and oxidative phosphorylation will take place. Anaerobically, it is converted into either alcohol or lactic acid. That is aerobic and anaerobic glycolysis. So while coming into the pathway of glycolysis especially takes place in the cytoplasm. If you see the pathway of glycolysis, generally it is divided into two. that is preparatory phase and payoff phase. Preparatory phase and payoff phase. In preparatory phase, you have to spend some amount of energy for the oxidation of glucose. In payoff phase, the pathway will yield the ATP molecules. So in preparatory phase, you have to spend some energy. In payoff phase, it will give energy. So that is the two phases of the glycolysis. So now you can see in the right, it's a preparatory phase. So that means conversion of glucose into fructose 1,6-bisphosphate, the two steps where two ATP molecules are consumed. So you are spending some amount of energy for the preparatory phase. So this pathway until glucose to fructose 1,6-bisphosphate, it is a preparatory phase where two ATP molecules are consumed by the pathway, and the pathway is like this. You can see the structure of alpha D glucopyranose. So glucose in presence of an enzyme called as hexokinase. Hexokinase. The glucose is phosphorylated at 6th position. You can see clearly the CH2OH is the 6th carbon atom in the glucose. It is phosphorylated to CH2OP. So that is called as glucose 6-phosphate, and the enzyme that is involved in this reaction is hexokinase, where it will consume an ATP molecule, and the phosphate present on ATP is transferred onto the 6th position of the glucose, converting it into glucose 6-phosphate. If you see clearly the reaction, it is an irreversible reaction. So the reaction will take place only in one direction, that is conversion of glucose to glucose 6-phosphate. But again from 6-phosphate to glucose is not possible. So the reaction mediated by hexokinase is also called as activation reaction. Any biomolecule, if it wants to participate in the metabolic pathways, either in catabolism or anabolism, it has to be activated. So one of such activation step only the conversion of glucose to glucose 6-phosphate, which is mediated by hexokinase. After that, glucose 6-phosphate is converted into fructose 6-phosphate. It is just an isomerization reaction. Conversion of aldehyde containing sugar to keto group containing sugar. So just isomerization, keto-enol isomerization. So glucose 6-phosphate will be converted into fructose 6-phosphate, and this reaction is reversible reaction. So the next step is conversion of fructose 6-phosphate to fructose 1,6-bisphosphate. With the help of an enzyme called as phosphofructokinase 1. So this phosphofructokinase 1 will phosphorylate the fructose at number 1 carbon atom. You can clearly see fructose at number 1 carbon atom, it is phosphorylated such that fructose 6-phosphate is converted into fructose 1,6-bisphosphate. Here also the phosphofructokinase will utilize the phosphate which is present on ATP and transfer it onto fructose 6-phosphate, converting it into fructose 1,6-bisphosphate. So two ATP molecules are spent here in the preparatory phase. Remember this while calculating the net ATP yielded by the complete oxidation of glucose. So 2 ATP was spent here, and this is the preparatory phase. So that is conversion of glucose to fructose 1,6-bisphosphate. From here, the 6 carbon containing fructose will be cleaved into 2 3 carbon containing compounds, that is dihydroxyacetone phosphate and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, with the help of an enzyme called as aldolase. aldolase. So aldolase will cleave fructose 1,6 bisphosphate to dihydroxyacetone phosphate and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. 2 3 carbon containing carbohydrates. So you can clearly see dihydroxyacetone phosphate and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, where these two are interconvertible with the help of an enzyme called as triose phosphate isomerase. So that means from here the pathway will take place twice. That means one glyceraldehyde will convert it into one pyruvic acid molecule, and another dihydroxyacetone phosphate, again it will be converted into glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, and again it will be converted into pyruvic acid. So after that completion of the pathway, the 6 carbon containing glucose 6-phosphate will be converted into 2 molecules of 3 carbon containing pyruvic acid molecules. So glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate will be converted into 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate. So it is also a phosphorylation step, but here ATP is not used. Inorganic phosphate is used to convert glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate into 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate. This reaction is also reversible. Almost the reactions until conversion of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate to phosphoenol pyruvate, the reactions are reversible. Only conversion of PEP to pyruvate will be irreversible. So once 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate is obtained, it is converted into 3-phosphoglyceric acid, and the phosphate group which is present on 1,3-bis-PGA is transferred onto an ADP molecule to convert it into ATP. So here is the first ATP molecule that is obtained in the payoff phase. So preparatory phase consumes 2 ATP molecules. In the payoff phase, 2 ATP molecules are formed by substrate level phosphorylation. So substrate level phosphorylation means immediate conversion of ADP to ATP by an enzymatic reaction. So that means during an enzymatic reaction, instantly ATP is produced without entering into the mitochondria. So that is called as substrate level phosphorylation. Oxidative phosphorylation means production of ATP by entering into electron transport chain by oxidation of glucose. So that we will see in the later classes. So here the first ATP molecule is formed, that is 1,3-bis-PGA to 3-PGA, and is also a reaction called as substrate level phosphorylation. Now 3-phosphoglycerate, now it is converted into 2-phosphoglycerate. Just a shift of phosphate group you can clearly see in the left. So shift of phosphate group from 3rd position to 2nd position. So then 3-PGA will be converted into 2-PGA. Now analyze will remove a water molecule and convert 2-PGA to phosphoenol pyruvate. A water molecule is removed, OH from the first carbon atom and hydrogen from the second carbon atom. You clearly see in the right side where a double bond is formed, that is phosphoenol pyruvate. Now phosphoenol pyruvate, the phosphate group which is present on the pyruvate, phosphoenol pyruvate, is transferred onto an ADP, another substrate level phosphorylation, where ADP will be converted into ATP instantly during the conversion of PEP to pyruvate. So finally pyruvic acid molecules, a 3-carbon containing compound CH3C double bond O COOH is formed. So this is pyruvic acid. So after the completion of payoff phase, you get 4 ATP molecules, 2 NADH molecules, and 2 pyruvic acid molecules. So 2 NADH, 4 ATP. So 2 ATP has spent in the preparatory phase, 4 minus 2, 2 ATP. 2 ATP and 2 NADH are formed in the glycolysis. Whatever may be the glycolytic pathway, aerobic and anaerobic, this pathway is to be happened, that is conversion of glucose to pyruvate. From here it will shift the pathway whether it is aerobic, it is going under aerobic conditions or anaerobic conditions. For example, if it is going under anaerobic conditions, immediately pyruvate is converted into lactate with the help of lactate dehydrogenase. The only thing is the NADH has to be recycled anaerobically. Since NADH is not entering into the mitochondria, it should be recycled immediately for the glycolytic pathway to occur anaerobically. So it is recycled with the help of lactate dehydrogenase that will convert pyruvate to lactate, where NADH, the hydrogens present on NADH are transferred onto pyruvate, converting it into lactate. And this NADE plus again utilized in the glycolytic pathway as shown in here, that is conversion of glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate to 1,3-bisphosphoglyceric acid. So that is under anaerobic conditions. Sometimes pyruvate will be converted into ethanol by alcohol dehydrogenase, that will occur in the yeast cells and some fermentating bacteria. So the production of ATP under anaerobic conditions and the fate of pyruvate under anaerobic conditions is explained by Cori and Cori cycle. So this Cori and Cori cycle especially takes place during strenuous exercise. You can clearly see exercise means where muscle proteins are involved. In muscle, the glucose is converted into pyruvate. Since there won't be enough oxygen, anaerobically pyruvate will be converted into lactate, and this lactate will be transported into liver. From lactate again it will be converted into pyruvate, and from pyruvate it is converted into glucose. That means in muscle glucose will be converted into lactate, and in liver lactate will be converted into glucose. So reversal of glycolysis takes place in the liver. So that is called as gluconeogenesis. Synthesis of glucose from non-carbohydrate precursors. That is, lactate is a non-carbohydrate precursor. So synthesis of glucose from lactate is called as gluconeogenesis. So in gluconeogenesis also 6 ATP molecules are consumed for the synthesis of glucose, and again this glucose will enter into muscle where it is converted into lactate, producing 2 ATP molecules. So the net ATP yield under anaerobic glycolysis will be 2. Only 2 ATP molecules are produced, and more amount of glucose will be utilized by the muscle. So this is called as Cori and Cori cycle, where muscle and liver involved in the process of glucose metabolism. Conversion of glucose to lactate in muscle and lactate to glucose in the liver by gluconeogenesis. So this is called as Cori and Cori cycle. So that is about glycolysis. Once glucose is converted into pyruvate, anaerobically it will be converted either to lactate or ethanol, that we have seen anaerobically. So under aerobic conditions, the pyruvate will enter the Krebs cycle after conversion of pyruvate to acetyl-CoA. And the coenzymes involved in this reaction are thymine pyrophosphate, lipoic acid, FAD and NAD. So you can clearly see from pyruvate CO2 is removed and SL-CoA is added, converting it into acetyl-CoA, and during this process thymine pyrophosphate and lipoate and FADH, finally NADH, will be converted into NADH2. So this is a simple representation of pyruvate dehydrogenase complex reaction which is involved in conversion of pyruvate to acetyl-CoA. And this pyruvate dehydrogenase complex, it is present in the mitochondrial membrane. So mitochondria, pyruvic acid while being transported into mitochondrial matrix, it is converted into acetyl-CoA. And this is the reaction, how it is being converted into acetyl-CoA and different type of coenzymes involved. So during this reaction, for each pyruvate, one NADH2 is produced. So total we have two pyruvic acid molecules for a single glucose. So two NADH2 are formed for each pyruvic acid molecule that is being converted into acetyl-CoA. So that is about pyruvate dehydrogenase complex and conversion of pyruvate to acetyl-CoA. So the next one is tricarboxylic acid cycle, TCA cycle or Krebs cycle. So this tricarboxylic acid cycle enzymes are all present in the mitochondrial matrix. So mitochondrial matrix is the site of location of tricarboxylic acid cycle. So the main role of this cycle is it will produce NADH, FADH and instant energy in the form of GTP. And it is a pathway that is involved in the aerobic oxidation of glucose. So the first step involved in the process of this TCA cycle is conversion of acetyl-CoA to citrate. So oxaloacetic acid which is formed in the previous TCA cycle is utilized by citrate synthase and acetyl-CoA is transferred onto oxaloacetic acid, where SL group is removed such that it is converted into 6 carbon containing citrate. So you have 6 carbon containing citrate now. In the presence of aconitase, an enzyme which removes a water molecule, you can clearly see the removal of water molecule. From the center carbon atom, OH group is removed, and to the adjacent carbon atom, hydrogen is removed. A water molecule is removed. Then it is called as cis-aconitate. Now again that water molecule is added, but this time OH will be added to the carbon atom where hydrogen is removed. You can clearly see. And hydrogen is added to a carbon atom where OH is removed. Then it will become isocitrate. So this is isocitrate. Now with the help of an enzyme called as isocitrate dehydrogenase, where one CO2 molecule is removed from isocitrate. So you can see a carbon atom which is having hydroxyl group. From that carbon atom, 2 hydrogens are transferred onto NAD, where it is converted into NADH2, and a CO2 is removed. So the product that is obtained is alpha ketoglutarate. So now alpha ketoglutarate in the presence of an enzyme called as alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase, where a CO2, another CO2 molecule is removed and an SL group is sent onto alpha ketoglutarate, converting it into succinyl-CoA. And the hydrogen atoms that are present on the SL groups are transferred onto NAD, converting it into NADH2. So during the conversion of alpha ketoglutarate to succinyl-CoA, an SL group is utilized and a CO2 is removed and NAD plus is converted into NADH2. So that is the reaction. So next one is succinyl-CoA to succinate. just an acyl group is removed, and that is utilized by the previous reaction, alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase, and the amount of energy that is produced in this reaction, conversion of succinyl CoA to succinate, is transferred on to GDP, converting it into GTP. So here in this reaction, GDP will be converted into GTP and succinate is obtained. Now this succinate, in the presence of an enzyme called as succinate dehydrogenase, it will be converted into fumarate. So there will be removal of two hydrogens from the adjacent carbon atoms such that a double bond is formed, and the two hydrogens are transferred onto FAD, where it is converted into FADH2 and fumarate is formed. Now to the fumarate, a water molecule is added by an enzyme called as fumarase. So one OH is added to one carbon atom and hydrogen is added to another carbon atom, converting fumarate to malate. Now malate, in the presence of an enzyme called as malate dehydrogenase, where two hydrogens are removed from a single carbon atom which is containing the hydroxyl group. So the hydroxyl group containing carbon atom in malate donates two hydrogens to NAD, where it is converted into NADH2, and malate will be converted into oxaloacetate, where again it is utilized by citrate synthesis. So this is called as tricarboxylic acid cycle, where continuously the cycle will take place in the mitochondria until acetyl CoA is present. So this pathway occurs twice, since two acetyl CoA molecules are present, and from each pathway we can clearly see 3 NADH are formed and 1 FADH2 is formed and 1 GTP is formed. So substrate level phosphorylation. So conversion of succinyl CoA to succinate will lead 1 GTP by substrate level phosphorylation. 3 NADH are formed, that is conversion of isocitrate to alpha ketoglutarate, succinate to fumarate, and malate to oxaloacetate. So you remember these three NADH, 1 FADH2, that is conversion of succinate to fumarate, and 1 GTP during conversion of succinyl CoA to succinate. So this is how we calculate the net ATP yield during complete oxidation of glucose. So in glycolysis, you can see formation of 2 NADH, where 2 NADH, if they enter into ETC, electron transport chain, they will produce 4 ATP molecules. That means in general 1 NADH forms 3 ATP molecules. 1 NADH will form 3 ATP molecules, and 1 FAD will form 2 ATP molecules. This is the Wold notation. This is the Wold notation. New notation, 1 NADH will form 2.5 ATP, and 1 FADH will form 1.5 ATP. So according to that, we will calculate the number of NADH and FADH to form during glycolysis and Krebs cycle as shown in the figure, and total amount of ATP produced per oxidation of each glucose molecule. So we can calculate this when we see clearly the process of electron transport chain, oxidative phosphorylation, and how ATP molecules are produced in the oxidative phosphorylation. But here you remember clearly 2 NADH are formed in glycolysis. 2 NADH are formed by pyruvate dehydrogenase complex. 6 NADH are formed in Krebs cycle for two acetyl-CoA molecules, and two FADH2 are formed for each one acetyl-CoA, one FADH2, two acetyl-CoA, two FADH2. You remember all these NADH and FADH2. So NADH2 total 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 NADH are formed, and 2 FADH2 are formed, and 2 instant ATP are formed. So remember this, we will calculate the rest of the calculation when we see oxidative phosphorylation. So that is glycolysis and Krebs cycle, where glycolysis will take place in cytosol and Krebs cycle in the mitochondrial matrix, and the pathways of glycolysis and the Krebs cycle. Thank you for patiently listening about the topics.